Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Good evening. My name is Samuel Kamara, and my title is Principal Country Program Officer, working for the African Development Bank, and I'm based here in Cairo. I am honored to be the moderator of this roundtable discussion on the project establishment of the navigation line between Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean Sea. On behalf of the sponsors and the organizers, it is my pleasure to thank you all for coming, for attending physically and virtually. Before I hand over the occasion to the speakers, I wish to inform that we have interpretation services for Arabic, English, and French. Now it's my turn to hand over the session to the speakers. The first is His Excellency Lieutenant General Engineer Kamal Wazir, Minister of Transport, Egypt. Your Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في البداية طبعا برحب بحضراتكم جميعا، سواء أشقائنا المصريين أو أصدقائنا من خارج مصر، وبهنيكم بصراحة على مجهودكم على هذا المؤتمر الهام جدا واللي عامل صدى جميل جدا سواء عند المصريين أو حتى في المحطات العالمية ووكالات الأنباء العالمية. بحييكم على مجهودكم وعلى نجاح هذا المؤتمر اللي هو زي ما بنقول يعني مجمع كل الاشقاء والاصدقاء الافارقه، وربنا دايما كده باستمرار يجمعكم دايما على الخير ان شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيد الدكتور محمد عبد العاطي وزير الموارد المائيه والري المصري، الساده وزراء الموارد المائيه والري والمياه والبيئه والتنميه المستدامه في الدول الافريقيه الشقيقه، الساده ممثلو الاتحاد الافريقي والنيباد والكوميسا، الساده ممثلو الجهات المانحه الدوليه، الساده الحضور. في البدايه نرحب بالساده الحضور لجلسه المائده المستديره للمانحين لمشروع الممر الملاحي بين بحيره فيكتوريا والبحر المتوسط، والتي تعقد ضمن فعاليات هذا الحدث الهام وهو اسبوع القاهره الرابع للمياه. ونرحب بكم جميعا في بلدكم الثاني مصر. لقد حرصت مصر منذ فجر التاريخ على ترسيخ وتعظيم قيمه نهر النيل في وجدان المصريين، فقدسوه وتفننوا في ادارته واتخذوا الاجراءات اللازمه بما يضمن استدامه عطائه. ولقد سلك المصريون عبر الأجيال ضرب آبائهم وأجدادهم في الحفاظ على المياه واستغلالها بالصورة المثلى لتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. وتعتمد مصر على رؤية شاملة تستهدف إرساء دعائم التنمية مع الدول الإفريقية استنادا إلى مقومات التاريخ المشترك ووحدة المصير وإعلاء مصالح الشعوب، ويشمل ذلك تعزيز التعاون في إدارة الموارد المائية المشتركة العابرة للحدود، بما يعود بالنفع على الجميع في إطار العلاقات الأزلية التي تربط دول وشعوب حوض نهر النيل. وتمتلك إفريقيا موارد وثروات طبيعية هائلة يحقق استغلالها على الوجه الأمثل طفرة كبيرة في تطور معدلات التنمية وزيادة الناتج القومي لدول القارة. وفي هذا الإطار يمثل تطوير البنية التحتية لشبكات النقل في القارة عنصرا رئيسيا في تحقيق هذه النهضة المأمولة. ويأتي مشروع الممر الملاحي بين بحيرة فيكتوريا والبحر المتوسط كأحد الرؤى الهامة لتحقيق هذا الهدف، حيث يمثل مشروع الممر الملاحي شريان حيوي للنقل، وخاصة طبعا النقل النهري، لتنمية التجارة البينية بين دول حوض النيل، كما يربط بين دول شمال وجنوب القارة، ويعتبر أقصر الطرق لربط دول الحوض والدول الحبيسة داخل القارة، تلك التي لا تطل على أنهار أو بحار أو محيطات وبالنظر لأهمية هذا المشروع فقد تم استغلال الميزات التنافسية للنقل النهري من توفير للوقود وخفض تكلفة صيانة الطرق وتقليل الاختناقات وخفض التلوث البيئي، كما يهيئ المناخ لفتح أسواق جديدة للاستثمار، خاصة وأن المؤشرات المبدئية لدراسات ما قبل الجدوى للمشروع إيجابية من الناحية الاقتصادية والبيئية والاجتماعية. وتم الانتهاء من الدراسات المؤسسية والقانونية واحتياجات التدريب وإعداد كراسة الشروط المرجعية لمرحلة دراسة الجدوى المرحلة الأولى بمنحة مقدمة من بنك التنمية الإفريقي تقدر بنحو 650 ألف دولار. وتم إقرار تلك الدراسات في الاجتماع الرابع للجنة التوجيهية للمشروع في أكتوبر 2018، والتي أوصت بإنشاء وحدتين لإدارة المشروع خلال المرحلة المقبلة، وهما: الوحدة الأولى وتضم دول النهر الرئيسي مصر، السودان، جنوب السودان، إثيوبيا، أوغندا ومقرها مصر. الوحدة الثانية وتضم دول روافد النهر أوغندا، تنزانيا، كينيا، الكونغو الديمقراطية، رواندا، بوروندي ومقرها أوغندا. والهدف من هذه الجلسة هو البحث عن مصادر لتمويل المرحلة الثانية من الدراسات بقيمة 11.7 مليون دولار، والتي تشمل الجوانب الفنية والبيئية والاقتصادية للمشروع، ودراسة البدائل والمسارات المختلفة للمشروع، واختيار البديل الأنسب، وتكلفة إنشاء وتشغيل الوحدات الإقليمية لإدارة المشروع بمصر وأوغندا. وجدير بالذكر أنه قد تم إدراج المشروع ضمن قائمة برنامج البنية التحتية بإفريقيا للمشاريع ذات الأولوية، والتي نأمل أن تجد الدعم من الشركاء في النيباد والكوميسا. الحضور الكريم، إن تبني مصر لهذا المشروع يحملها المسؤولية للدفع به قدما إلى الأمام، حيث يحظى باهتمام كبير من القيادة السياسية، حيث تسعى مصر دوما إلى تعزيز وتعميق أواصر التعاون مع أشقائها دول حوض النيل التي ترتبط معهم بعلاقات أزلية، حيث أن المياه هي الإرث المشترك للإنسانية. فدعونا نعمل جاهدين لتحقيق هذا المشروع الاستراتيجي الضخم لما يحققه من عوائد اقتصادية كبيرة لدول حوض النيل، وأن نكون بفضل تعاوننا سبب لرخاء شعوب القارة وضمان حياة كريمة للأجيال القادمة. إننا نعلم أن التحديات والصعاب التي تحيط بهذا المشروع كبيرة، ولكن بفضل تعاوننا يمكن أن يتحول هذا الحلم إلى فرص ومكتسبات للجميع. ولا يفتني هنا أن أتقدم بالشكر لوزارة الموارد المائية والري المصرية لتنظيمها أسبوع القاهرة الرابع للمياه، والتعاون معنا للإعداد والتنظيم لجلسة المائدة المستديرة للمانحين اليوم لبحث سبل تمويل دراسات الجدوى للمشروع. وأتمنى أن تنتهي جلسة جلسة اليوم بنتائج مثمرة لدعم وتمويل المشروع. وفي النهاية فإن وزارة النقل المصرية على أتم استعداد لتقديم كافة أشكال الدعم الفني وتبادل الخبرات في مجال النقل النهري لتحقيق أهداف شعوبنا المشتركة في التنمية. قبل ما أختم، أنا عايز أقول إن إحنا شغالين فعلا في هذا المشروع في إطار المشروع الكبير ربط بحيرة فيكتوريا بالبحر المتوسط في قطاعات مختلفة، وخاصة في قطاعات نهر النيل وروافده الموجودة داخل حدود جمهورية مصر العربية. احنا حاليا بنكرك ونطور وبنعمق ونأهل مجاري مائية نهر النيل وروافده الممتدة حتى البحر المتوسط تقريبا 2135 كيلومتر طولي حاليا الآن، بالتعاون طبعا مع وزارة الموارد المائية والري وهيئاتها المختلفة مثل معهد بحوث النيل. أيضا مصر بتشارك حاليا أو بتنفذ حاليا تطوير ميناء وادي حلفة في السودان وتكريك وتعميق الممر الملاحي داخل البحيرة سواء في الأراضي المصرية أو الأراضي السودانية، ليكون هذا جزء هام جدا تم الانتهاء منه حتى قبل انتهاء الدراسات اللي هي المرحلة الثانية اللي اتكلمت عليها، وإن شاء الله بإذن الله نكون مخلصين الجزء ده وبأموال مصرية خالصة. ولكن طبعا الموضوع محتاج أكتر من كده عشان نستكمل المرحلة الثانية من الدراسات والبدء في تنفيذ المشروع إن شاء الله بإذن الله في باقي دول الحوض، سواء زي ما قلت الدول المباشرة اللي فيها النهر ماشي بصورة مباشرة أو روافده. أتمنى إن شاء الله بإذن الله أن احنا بتعاوننا كلنا مع بعض ننجح في تنفيذ هذا المشروع الذي سيحقق الكثير من التنمية والرخاء لكل شعوب القارة، ليس فقط اللي بيمر فيها نهر النيل وروافده، ولكن إن شاء الله أنا متأكد ده هيكون بإذن الله يعني فتحة خير على كل هذه الدول وزيادة أواصر التعاون والرخاء والتنمية لكل هذه الدول إن شاء الله بإذن الله. وفي الختام أتقدم بالشكر والتقدير لكل من ساهموا في الإعداد لهذه الجلسة، وأتمنى لكم ضيوفنا يعني إقامة طيبة في القاهرة، والله الموفق، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for in particular confirming the role of the Arab Republic of Egypt in this all-important project, and also for underscoring the cooperation that is needed both locally and then regionally to see that to see the success of this project. So thank you very much. So the next speaker is His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Abdel Ati, the Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Egypt. Your Excellency, the podium is yours. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي الوزراء والسفراء والزملاء الأعزاء، بحب أرحب بكم جدا في الجلسة الخاصة بمشروع ربط بحيرة فيكتوريا بالبحر المتوسط. المشروع ده جزء من حلم كبير، يعني هو الفريق كامل، زميلي الفريق كامل قال الجزء اللي هو ابتدى ينفذ، ولكن الحلم الكبير ان احنا نربط كمان خط سكة حديد من اول البحر المتوسط لحد بحيرة فيكتوريا، وهو ابتدى ينفذ الجزء الربط مع السودان، خط السكة الحديد، ربط كهربائي على طول المسار بتاع الممر الملاحي، وده فعلا احنا ربطنا بالسودان كهربائيا، وبالتالي الشبكه ممكن تمد وتكمل بنفس المسار دوت خط طريق سريع. ودوت دلوقتي برضو الطريق السريع موجود طريقين ومنفذين جمركيين بين مصر والسودان، وده تمهيدا باذن الله ان هو يكمل لحد اوغندا، ولما يكمل لحد اوغندا نتخيل المنافع اللي هي ممكن تعود علينا كلنا، سواء من التجاره وزيادة معدلات التجارة، أو ربط كهربائي وتكامل في مجال الكهرباء، أو السياح اللي هم بيجوا في اسكندرية وحلمهم إن هو ياخد جولة في النيل تاخد 15 يوم لحد ما يوصل لمنابعه في بحيرة فيكتوريا. ده حلم لأي حد إن هو يقدر يعمل الجولة دي. تكامل بالدول حوض النيل، التجارة هتزيد، الاستثمار بدل ما نستثمر ونزرع محاصيل في مناطق شحيحة المياه زي مصر، ممكن نزرعها في جنوب السودان وفي أوغندا وفي السودان وفي دول حوض النيل الأخرى وفي بوروندي، بحيث وفي بقية الدول. يعني أنا مش عايز أعدد الدول كلها، ولكن يبقى في وسيلة نقل رخيصة وسهلة تقدر توصل المنتجات ديت. كمان في عائد كمان على الدول اللي هيمر بيها التجارة. لو أنا بصدر من مصر لأوغندا يبقى في رسوم مرور هتاخدها السودان وهتاخدها جنوب السودان علشان البضاعة توصل لأوغندا. كل دي ببساطة فوائد كتيرة للمشروع بتحدد جدواه. عشان كده مصر لم تتردد في، زي ما قال زميلي سيادة الفريق كامل الوزير، ان احنا لم نتردد في بدء المشروع، وابتدينا بنفسنا عشان نحط المثل والفوائد للمشروع. احنا دلوقتي عندنا طرق بنصرف عليها عشرات المليارات عشان نجددها ونأهلها. ما ينفعش ان عربيات نقل تقيلة تمشي عليها. الملاحة النهرية دي ارخص، وفي خطة وزارة النقل طموح كبير ان هو حوالي اكتر من 10% معالي الوزير من التجارة تتنقل عبر النيل.
هو انا بصراحه اتكلمت عن الجزء بتاع ربط فيكتوريا بالبحر المتوسط، وكنت منتظر الاسئله الباقيه عشان اجاوب على اللي حضرتك بتتكلم فيه، سواء الربط بقى الطريق البري اللي احنا بنعمله دلوقتي من القاهره الى ارقين ثم يكمل لحد كيب تاون في الحدود المصريه. بس عندنا 1155 كيلو، هيكلف تقريبا 26 مليار جنيه. وزي ما حضرتك بتقول احنا بنعمل طريق 5 حارات للعربيات الملاك و3 حارات للشاحنات بطريق خرساني، غير طبعا السكك الحديديه اللي بنربط فعلا. واحنا مش بنقول لسه بندرس، ده احنا فعلا دلوقتي بنشتغل القاهره اسوان قطار كهربائي، واسوان وادي حلفه جزء ابو سمبل دلوقتي بنشتغل فيه، واسوان وادي حلفه بنشتغل فيه دراسات. انا كنت مستني دي للاسئله اللي اكيد هتتسال واكمل. انا بشكر حضرتك طبعا ان انت فتحت هذا الموضوع، واحنا بنكمل بعض يعني.
تمام. ده غير بقى ان الخدمات اللي هتتعمل على طول الممر دوت، يعني احنا بنسميه ممر تنميه او ديفلوبمنت كوريدور. الممر التنميه دوت خدمات فنادق، خدمات تموين سفن، تموين سيارات. يعني لما نفكر ونحلم حلم كبير ونبتدي ننفذ فيه حته حته هنوصل لنتيجه كويسه. طبعا نتخيل احنا الكونغو، احنا بناخد بالطيران 24 ساعه عشان نوصل الكونغو عن طريق دولة ثالثة ودولة رابعة. لما يبقى في خط مباشر سواء خط طيران أو خط بري أو خط بحري أو نهري، كل دوت نتخيل حجم التوفير والنماء وتسريع التنمية في دول حوض النيل. أنا مش حابب أطول لأن ده مشروع نقل، وشكرا جزيلا يعني، وبشكركم على الحضور، والمناقشات بإذن الله هتبين التفاصيل. شكرا جزيلا.
Your Excellency, thank you so much. Indeed, this is a natural resource locked with so much potential that we should really try to unlock, to the benefit of our people. Thank you so much. The next speaker is a friend and a brother, and he is here representing Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashad, Minister of International Cooperation, and my brother and my friend, Dr. Mohammed El-Gawad. The podium is yours. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي الوزير الفريق كامل وزير النقل، معالي الوزير دكتور محمد عبد العاطي وزير الموارد المائية والري، اسمحوا لي بداية بالنيابة عن معالي وزيرة التعاون الدولي دكتورة رانيا المشاط كان أنقل تحياتها لحضراتكم والحضور الكريم، وأيضا اعتذارها عن عدم تمكنها من المشاركة في هذا الحدث الهام نظرا لارتباطها بمهمة خارجية لتمثيل الدولة المصرية. طبعا يسعدني بداية واتصالا بالكلمتين المهمتين التي تفضلتم حضراتكم بذكرها أن أتوجه بخالص الشكر والتقدير لوزارة الموارد المائية والري على تنظيمها للأسبوع القاهرة الرابع للمياه، وهذا الأسبوع الناجح الحقيقة بفعالياته وجلساته المهمة والمثمرة، وفي نفس الوقت على تنظيم هذا الحدث الهام للتواصل والتعامل والتكامل مع شركاء التنمية لبحث سبل تنفيذ هذا المشروع التنموي الهام. أيضا يسعدني أن أتوجه وأثمن على جهود وزارة النقل لإنجاح هذا المشروع التنموي كما تفضل معالي الوزير الفريق كامل الوزير بعرضه، وأيضا لإنجاح منظومة التكامل الإفريقي بشكل عام. اسمحوا لي أن أتحول في عجالة سريعة لكلمة باللغة الإنجليزية لمخاطبة ممثلو شركاء التنمية، وفي نفس الوقت عرض بعض الأطر الهامة لمحاور التحرك التعاون الإنمائي بين مصر وشركاء التنمية لتنفيذ أهداف التنمية المستدامة، وأيضا لهدف إطلاق الحوار للتواصل مع شركاء التنمية لإنجاح هذا المشروع الهام. Of course, I mentioned that in Arabic, but in very quick, at the outset, I would like to convey Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashad sincere regards to you for this participation in this very valuable and timely crucial event, and of course, her apology for not being able to attend this very important meeting. I would like to thank you all for being with us here today. And these very important discussions about the establishment of navigational line between Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean. This project is a milestone in our process of trailblazing regional integration in Africa by facilitating multimodal transport. And here I mention multimodal. Why? It's integrating river, rail, and road transport facilities all in one. Of course, your support as development partner is very much needed and crucial with this regard. And this will not going to be done without, of course, the help and the directions and the full partnership of our dear brothers and sisters from the African continent and from the Nile Basin country. And here I would like to welcome, of course, excellencies, the ministers and senior officials from the African countries and the Nile Basin countries. Of course, the strategic objectives of this project is to enhance the socio-economic welfare of the Nile River Basin throughout enhancing trade, tourism, and river management capacity all the way from Egypt to Tanzania. In order to achieve this, a number of potential project components, and here I'm also trying to highlight the main component of this project in order to enable and to drive our discussions afterwards, will capture the following. First, constructing a navigational line connecting Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean Sea through the Nile River. Second, establishing river navigation management training centers, and I think this also has been highlighted by their excellencies, the ministers. And this is also to capitalize on Egypt's experience, and this is very important to enhance our multilateral cooperation with this regard. And third, related to supporting economic development in the Nile Basin. Having said that, this is, one of the things that we need to put in our consideration, that Egypt, along with the African countries, have commitment to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We have initiated here within Egypt and as the Ministry of International Cooperation what's so-called the ODA SDG mapping, and this is very important to put in our consideration this sort of interlinkage between the official development assistance and achieving the SDG goals. For example, and why I mentioned that this project that we are discussing today has at least direct correlation with 3 SDGs. The SDG 8 related to the decent work and the economic growth, SDG 9 related to industry innovation and infrastructure, and the SDG 17 partnerships for goals. On that note, I would like to assure you, our development partners, that together with our mutual aspiration, we would like to, we would be able to achieve the objectives of the VICMED project. And of course, this is very important to strengthen our regional integration through increasing trade and mobility of both goods and people along the Nile Basin country. The government of Egypt will continuously coordinate with our development partners to support strategic objectives that have a favorable and sustainable impact on the region. And this project, of course, will enhance further our African integration. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother. So next, the next set of speakers are from the honorable ministers from the VICMED member countries. The first I will invite to speak is His Excellency Manawa Gatkuth, the South Sudanese Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation. Your Excellency, the podium is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank my colleague, His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Abdulati, the Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Arab Republic of Egypt, for providing us with this platform to come and participate in Cairo Water Week, which bring many members, many countries in this version of Water Week. Thank you for allowing us to come and participate. Let me recognize the President of Ministers of Water Resource and Irrigation of DRC Congo, a colleague from Burundi and Senegal, those who also from Kampala, our neighbors or brothers, who are attending, from Uganda, who are attending this Cairo Water Week. This project we are talking about is one of the important projects in the region. And I want to talk on two issues about it. The strategic objective of this project. One, this project will achieve economic integration, socio-economic integration between the Nile Basin country. Number two, it will achieve a sustainable integrated transport system among the basin country. Number three, enhance trade and tourism between the countries. As you know, in the basin country, like South Sudan, it's composed of 10 countries. 5 of them considered as a lockland country: Uganda, South Sudan, Burundi, eastern part of DRC Congo is a lockland country also. This project will provide a corridor, a navigation route from Lake Victoria up to Mediterranean Sea. It will increase and enhance the regional cooperation and peace among all these countries. That's why we are talking to our development partner. There's a need to support the project, because as we are addressing the issues of climate change all over the world, there's a need for all these countries. Through this project, it will increase the regional peace among them. I think this platform is very important for all the countries. As South Sudan, as a lock country, it will give us opportunity because there is a three component of the project. One, it will provide navigation routes, river navigation. Number two, there's a component of railways between the countries. Number three, there's a road. All of them will implement the agenda of Africa 2063, because it's want to achieve how to connect the all African country by road, by river, and by railway. I think there is other project in Lamu project which should connect Uganda and Kenya and South Sudan. But this project specifically will connect most of the country. It will come from South Africa up to Egypt here. I think it's the most important project at this time. As a country, we will provide support for the project, because also will enhance and will help in consolidate peace and economic growth in South Sudan country. I will not go further. We will wait for the question. If people would ask, I'll tell you again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Really glad that you brought the angle of climate change. That's an important aspect about this project. And then also the issue about the social integration. Definitely, I just imagine, when this line becomes operational, the sort of social, how people will be moving easily across these countries. Thank you so much for that. The next speaker is His Excellency Dr. Diogide Rurima, Minister of Environment, Agriculture, and Livestock from the Republic of Burundi. Your Excellency, the podium is yours.
His Excellency General Engineer Kemer or Wazir, Minister of Transport, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Abderati, Minister of Water, Resources and Irrigation, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Gawad Alem, representative of International Cooperation, Ministry of International Cooperation, Your Excellencies, ladies, gentlemen, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of regional and international organizations, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of development partners, all gathered here, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Burundi and on behalf of myself, I am greatly honored to pay my sincere tribute to this august audience as a part of the 4th Cairo Water Week. Before moving on, I deem it very important to express my profound gratitude to the Arabic Republic of Egypt and to the Egyptian people as a whole for the warm welcome and hospitality given to me. This was always characterized by the Egyptian people, who is both brother and friend to the Burundi people. Let me take this opportunity to sincerely commend the government of Egypt for the usual support to our common projects and to the development of our nations. Under the vision, one continent, one river, one people, the establishment of navigation line between Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean Sea VICMED project is timely because it testifies our fruitful collaboration as a country belonging to the Nile Basin countries. My country, Burundi, is convinced that this project provides opportunities to landlocked countries to enhance trade, tourism, to reduce poverty, and to develop socio-economic integration among Nile Basin two-print countries. Burundi strongly supports this project and hereby invite the partners here present to kindly give their technical and financial backstopping for its successful implementation. Now is the time for us to join our hands in helping accelerate the implementation of the project that translates the vision of a borderless Africa, Africa without borders. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling our attention to one continent and one borderless African continent. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. The next speaker is His Excellency Sam Chaptoris, Minister of Water and Environment. Sorry for that. So the next one is Her Excellency Eve. Okay. Sorry for that again. Yeah, so His Excellency Sam Chaptoris, Minister of Water and Environment from the Republic of Uganda.
Thank you. As an older man, I wanted the young people to talk first. Then I would talk later. But my colleagues, the ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited by this project, extremely excited. And when my country is mentioned so many times, I really feel greatly honored. I want first of all to thank the Arab Republic of Egypt for spearheading this project. This is a very, very important project. And I want to thank the African Development Bank for funding the pre-feasibility studies. This project obviously is going to be extremely beneficial to the Nile Basin countries and even beyond. As you are aware, my country is landlocked. We are landlocked. And if we can get an opening through the Mediterranean, we shall be extremely grateful. It will enable us to connect to other Nile Basin countries and then connect even to Europe and other countries in the world. The project is going to boost tourism. The project is going to boost trade. Our imports will be cheaper. Our exports will be competitive. So in my view, and in the view of my country, we are really very grateful that this project is taking off. I only want to caution, I only want to advise that huge projects of this nature, normally we have to be extremely careful. We have to do our studies correctly. We have to do our studies correctly. We have to do environmental impact assessment so that we know that it will not impact on the environment. So that is the only advice I am giving, that as Uganda, we are ready for this project, but let's do it basing on our findings of impact, of environmental impact assessment, so that our falls, for instance, may not be affected. That is all. But otherwise, I welcome this project, and I want to thank Egypt once again for spearheading this project. I'm very sure it will bring integration between us and the other countries. In Uganda, for instance, we produce a lot of milk, we produce a lot of fruits, but we don't have the market because flying them is extremely expensive. So it will be very possible for us, if this project takes off, to easily export our products to a place like, to this country like Egypt and the other places in the other countries in Africa. So I thank you very much. Please, African Development Bank, continue, look for the money. We are very happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for calling to action. Indeed, this is a moment for collective action because there are crops, there are fruits, waiting to be exported at a cheaper rate. Thank you very much for that, and also for pointing to the fact that we need to do a thorough job when it comes to the upstream work that needs to be done. Thank you so much. So next on the list is Her Excellency Eve Zaiba Masudi, the Vice Minister, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Your Excellency, the podium is yours.
Merci beaucoup. Je vais parler en français. J'espère que tout le monde a la possibilité d'avoir la traduction. Je voudrais une fois de plus remercier notre frère, le docteur Mohamed Abdelati, pour nous avoir associés à ces travaux. Dès l'ouverture de cette semaine de l'eau, au nom du gouvernement de la République démocratique du Congo, nous avions apprécié cette conférence parce que ça nous donne l'opportunité de nous exprimer par rapport à la gestion de la ressource en eau. Je l'avais dit hier, L'eau, c'est la vie. L'eau, c'est aussi une source de paix. L'eau, c'est aussi une source des opportunités économiques et surtout pour des projets durables. Et je suis très fier, je remercie les organisateurs une fois de plus pour m'avoir donné l'occasion d'intervenir à ce sujet presque en dernier. En tant que femme, je crois que notre aîné de l'Ouganda a dit il est aîné, mais moi je suis femme, je vais clôturer pour dire que nous n'avons pas besoin de convaincre les pays, parce que les pays concernés ont répondu favorablement à ces projets. Voilà pour les bailleurs de fonds une occasion de soutenir un projet intégrateur, un projet qui regroupe tout le monde, un projet qui donne les perspectives d'un développement durable. Parce que ce projet va concerner non seulement les États en tant qu'institution morale, mais surtout l'échange des populations, échange des marchandises, échange, circulation des personnes et des biens. L'Afrique va avoir la possibilité de s'ouvrir à l'extérieur, l'Afrique intérieure qui va vers le monde à travers le raccourci des Méditerranées. Mon pays, la République démocratique du Congo, c'est un pays continent parce que nous commençons côté Atlantique jusque vers l'océan Pacifique, proche avec les pays avec lesquels nous partageons le bassin du Nil. Mais il est difficile pour les commerces ou les échanges de biens et de services pour les populations de la République démocratique du Congo qui vivent à l'est du pays, vers l'Europe par exemple, ou vers l'Asie. Mais c'est une opportunité par excellence parce que la République démocratique du Congo fait partie des pays membres du bassin du Nil. Voilà pourquoi, depuis 2015, 6 ans aujourd'hui, notre pays, mon pays, a accueilli favorablement ces projets et nos experts ont contribué à la collecte des données pour la faisabilité de ces projets. L'importance pour l'Afrique de s'ouvrir au monde n'est plus à démontrer. Maintenant, tous ensemble, les pays du bassin du Nil, nous sommes en train de demander à convaincre les bailleurs du fonds. Comme nous avons la Banque africaine de développement, aujourd'hui, c'est la Banque africaine qui va nous amener au développement durable. Mesdames et messieurs, point n'est besoin de continuer à parler. Nous attendons plutôt écouter les bailleurs de fonds parce que de notre côté comme État, nous sommes unis, nous sommes solidaires et nous pensons qu'avec ces projets, nous allons consolider nos relations. Avant de terminer, je souhaiterais remercier une fois de plus la République arabe d'Égypte à travers notre frère Dr Mohamed Aboulati pour avoir facilité en collaboration avec notre frère ministre des Transports la possibilité d'obtenir un pont aérien avec Égypte Air directement, un vol direct entre le Caire et Kinshasa. C'est une très grande opportunité pour nous. Nous les saluons en plus de tous les autres projets de coopération avec lesquels nous sommes ensemble depuis plusieurs années. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Votre Excellence. Sûrement, l'eau, c'est la source de vie, la source de paix et la source de projets durables. Et merci beaucoup pour appeler, pour notre soutenir à ce projet. So, I will switch back to English. And now this is time for me to invite my colleague, Dr. Tahani Silit, the project regional coordinator, to give a presentation on the project.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for presenting me. Your Excellencies, all protocol observed. No, I'm fine here, I will not. I'm really honored to give a presentation among all this number of ministers of the Nile water. And I also like to greet also honorable participants online, because we have His Excellency Ibrahim Mayaki online, we have Dr. Baptiste Mutabazi online, and we have Mr. Ivan Zawatski online, and we are really apologizing them for them for waiting, and for you, of course, but unfortunately the room was already taken for another session, so I'm very sorry for that. Well, I have to thank all Excellencies, ministers with us for giving us this opportunity to present the project with you. We'd like also to thank all our development partners who gave us the chance to talk about this project here and to share with them the status quo, the way forward, and to ask them and to call upon them to provide support for this project, because the project is what we can say is a model of the PIDA-PAP2 projects. It is about a development corridor, and it is totally in line with the PIDA projects which adopt the integrated corridor approach. Before starting, I'd like also to thank my colleagues in the PMU. We are very lean in number, but they are very efficient in quality. They know themselves, and I thank them very much. Under the vision of one continent, one river, and one people, the VICMED project is a presidential infrastructure championing initiative project launched by Egypt and Nepal in June 2013, and it is coordinated by COMESA. And I here take the opportunity again to thank the African Union, the AUDA-NEPAD, the PICI, and the COMESA for all the support that they are giving to the project. Of course, and above all, we have to thank the African Development Bank for the support for the first phase of the project, and we count upon the African Development Bank to provide support for us through the African Development Bank and through the NEPAD IPPF, and through also a pool of funds, maybe, to realize the feasibility study phase 2 of this project. The objectives of the project, as have been mentioned by honored ministers, is to achieve socio-economic integration and cohesion, to achieve a sustainable integrated multimodal transport system, to enhance trade and tourism, and to reduce poverty among all Nile Basin countries. The expected benefits is to connect footprint countries by a relatively low-cost natural transport route that is safe, secure, energy efficient, and capable of moving various types and volumes of goods and cargo. To provide effective support and facilitation for trade and tourism among footprint countries and the rest of the world, and to provide opportunities for landlocked countries to access other international seas and ports. To reinforce region's position with the global economic system, and to allow more cooperation and regional integration in all aspects, and last but not the least, to support economic development in the footprint countries. This project is going through many phases. The first phase is the pre-feasibility study, started 2014 and ended 2015, followed by the feasibility study phase 1, started 2015 and ending 2019. The feasibility study phase 2, part 1, this is the phase that we are talking about and the phase for which we are seeking for fund, So it started 2019, but actually until now it didn't start because we count on you to make it start. And the feasibility study phase 2, part 2, and then the design and implementation phase. We will go very quickly with the first phases of the study. Unfortunately, I cannot see the screen from behind. I can see it from behind, and I don't want to give you my back. So I'm sorry, I have to keep rolling the papers. The VICMED feasibility study phase 1 was completed in May 2015, and it was endorsed in December 2017 during the 3rd steering committee meeting of all the Nile Basin countries. The VICMED pre-feasibility study ended with 5 alternatives. Those 5 alternatives are changing between total navigation route or what we call the multimodal transport. So it is navigation with railway and road. These alternatives are presented for the next phase in order to be studied thoroughly and to make multi-criteria analysis and benefit cost analysis in order to reach out for the best alternative to be studied and detailed designed. The VICMED project management units have been established with staff from the Ministry of Water Resources and staff from the Ministry of Transport, and also the regional steering committee have been established. So in each country there is one steering committee member from the Ministry of Water and another steering committee member from the Ministry of Transport. During the pre-feasibility study phase, some promotional visits to footprint countries have been established to DRC, Tanzania, Rwanda, South Sudan, Sudan, and Uganda. I here want to highlight that the pre-feasibility study have been totally funded from Egypt since in that time we didn't have yet provided funding for the project. Afterwards, so this one, these are some examples of the photos of the tours, the promotional visits. Next, please. The VICMED, the footprint countries, we are talking here about all the Nile Basin countries, because we have, for the main trajectory, Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, and Uganda. And when the project was launched, Ethiopia requested officially to join the project with the Baro River. The Rwanda asked to join by the Kagera, Burundi by Ruvubu, and DRC by the Semiliki River. So now we have all the Nile Basin countries involved in the project, and this is a very big honor for us. Next, we have our VICMED flow diagram. So we have, like I have said before, a steering committee. A steering committee is regional, and it includes all the Nile Basin countries. And we have the Egypt regional focal point, and it is coordinating fully with COMESA, and here I want to salute Dr. Baptiste Mutabazi. He's with us online for all his support, and for his support also to coordinate with all of the Nile Basin countries. And the most important role also is to present the VICMED project for the PIDA program. Thank you very much, Dr. Mutabazi. I hope you are hearing me now. We have our PMU, as I have explained, and we are internally on maybe a weekly basis. I have made the headache for Dr. Khalid Al-Askari because we are coordinating with the African Development Bank And we have also our national committee, technical national committee, and I say hello to our colleagues in the national committee. Most of them are here with us, and I thank them for all their efforts to support the project and for the good advice that they are providing. And here I am inviting all the footprint countries also to reinforce national committees in order to move forward in the project. The feasibility study phase 1 was funded by the African Development Bank with $650,000 US. It started in September 2015 and it ended in July 2019 with some important achievements to an institutional and legal framework and the training needs assessment that was completed and approved by all the countries in November 2018. They have also prepared the terms of reference for feasibility study phase 2, and we have provided during this period also 2 capacity building programs on the regional level, including at least 2 participants from each of the Nile Basin countries, and 4 steering committee meetings and consultative visits to all countries were also held. All the planned activities have been successfully achieved with more than 80% of the assigned resources. And here we have some photos of the visits of the consultant. He was an international consultancy firm. And this is the table of the visits of the consultant to all of the countries. Only DRC and South Sudan held their consultation visits in Cairo because of some security reasons at that time. With regard to capacity building, we had, as I have said, 2 training programs. The first one was on Introduction to Inland Water Navigation. It was held in February 2017 in Cairo with the support of the River Transport Authority, Ministry of Transport, and I always thank the Ministry of Transport for the great support. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your support, continuous support for the project. The program was implemented by the Regional Institute of River Transport, the Arab Academy of Science, and also the the National Water Research Centers. These are some photos of the training. And then we had also another capacity building program, which was on inland water transport, challenges and opportunities. It was held during the period of June 9 to 13, 2019 in Ismailia. So it was the last activity before ending the fund. 2 participants from each footprint countries were there, and the training took place in the Suez Canal Authority to share the unique experience of Suez Canal Authority to dig the new Suez Canal, and it was presented with a field visit to Suez Canal. And these are some proofs of our activities as well. And now I am sharing with you a very important slide. This is the proposed institutional setup for the project. And this proposed institutional setup have been agreed upon with all of the Nile Basin countries during the 4th steering committee meeting. And how is it planned? It is planned to have one mainstream unit, which is like a secretariat for the VICMED project, located in Cairo, and another operation connection unit for branches in Uganda. And as you see here, downwards, we see that Uganda is both in the OMU and the OCU. Both VICMED, OMU, and OCU are directed by a technical advisory committee, and the proposed technical advisory committee will be representatives from each country, from the field of transport and from the field of water, and also I'd like to highlight that both the VICMED OMU and OCU should be regional units. So we will not have only Egyptian staff or Ugandan staff, but in both we are planning to have regional staff from all the Nile Basin countries. The Technical Advisory Committee unit, the Technical Advisory Committee is reporting to a Council of Ministers, then a summit of heads of states, and all the process is under the African Union, the COMESA for usual support as a REC and as a coordinator, and with AUDA, NEPAD, and the PIDA. So this is the proposed institutional setup that we agreed upon, all the member countries, and that we need to start making it happen and implementing. The next slide. The next slide. The next slide is the roadmap of the project. How are we going? First of all, we need to focus on data collection, and then to have a strategic environmental assessment, including stakeholder consultation and transport economic study, and to have technical feasibility studies, including review and development of the 5 alternatives in order to select the best alternative. We have detailed design studies and standard documents for construction and energy. So this is the roadmap for the whole process. The alternatives of the study will be studied and having a strategic environmental assessment, transport economic study, and technical feasibility study. And all the studies will be covered by the estimated cost of this phase, the phase for which we are seeking for fund, is $11.7 million US. 1 million is for the establishment of the 2 PMU and OCU, 7.5 for the technical studies, and 3.2 as operational cost. The duration of this phase is 38 months. We have in the presentation and under our hands. Hard. Okay. Afterwards, we have here the transition period, and this is the breakdown of the cost. We'll not go into the details. We can go into details in another meeting, a one-on-one meeting. And here is also the breakdown for the technical studies and the feasibility study. Here I don't want to be very long because I know that you have many commitments, Your Excellencies. I'm very sorry for being long, but I wanted to provide more information for the audience about the project. So now I'd like to confirm that also the PMU has participated in many activities and in many regional and international forums in order to promote for the project. Last of which was the COMESA ministerial meeting, which has commended the efforts of the PMU. For now, I thank you, and excuse me for being too long. Please, Mr. Samuel, I'm giving over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for really unpacking this project. You know, we started off with the strategic objectives, and then after that now we come to the implementation arrangement, and then the project components, and then the costing. So again, this is just laying the ground, for all the potential donors to see, the feasibility of this project and the importance of this project. So thank you so much for that. Next speaker is His Excellency Dr. Ibrahim Hassani Mayaki, CEO for AUDA NEPAD. Your Excellency, the podium is yours. His Excellency is online. Over to you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moderator. Your Excellency, Lieutenant General Kamel El-Wazir, Minister of Transport of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Your Excellency Mohamed Abdel Ati, Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Commissioner Amani Abu Zaid, my dear sister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here this evening. Let me start by extending AUDA NEPAD's appreciation to the esteemed Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation of the Arab Republic of Egypt for holding this high-level roundtable to drive the implementation process of the VICMED project forward and take it to a second level. I would also like to recognize with gratitude His Excellency, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, for his unequivocal and unwavering commitment to champion the VICMED project under the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative, PICI. As you know, PICI is an accelerator of PIDA, which is the Program for Infrastructure Development for Africa, and each PICI project is championed by a head of states, and currently we have 12 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, since its inception in 2011, under the sponsorship of the NEPAD Heads of States and Government Orientation Committee, the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative has proven to be a very successful vehicle in upscaling and driving the implementation of transformative regional infrastructure projects in Africa. 2021 marks the 10th anniversary of the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative. Therefore, this year is an opportune time to reflect on what the PC has achieved thus far, and some essential considerations need to be flagged moving forward. AUDA NEPAD, in its role as the PICI Secretariat, actively and diligently advocates for promoting and strengthening this initiative as the mechanism for championing, properly coordinating, and accelerating the implementation of priority transnational infrastructure projects to support Africa's integration. And I would like to mention the strong, effective, efficient, and concrete support of the African Development Bank and of my brother, President Adesina, in this process. The significance of PC notably increases in this particular time as we work with governments, development finance institutions to achieve the second PIDA Priority Action Plan, which is PIDA PAP2. And PIDA PAP2, plus the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, are pillars to support the fulfillment of our people's aspirations as framed in the African Union Agenda 2063. Through PICI, high-level championing of these projects is essential to accelerate the implementation of a PIDA PAP2. And if you notice, I repeat frequently the concept of acceleration because it's all about acceleration. Ladies and gentlemen, today's high-level roundtable is a pivotal platform to mobilize resources required to complete the second phase feasibility study of a VICMED project, along with yielding insights on the lessons learned and the best practices in this regard. AUDA NEPAD is strongly committed to supporting Egypt and participating countries to accelerate the VICMED project. At this juncture, it is also pertinent to underline the ongoing engagement between the VICMED project and the AUDA NEPAD Service Delivery Mechanism, SDM, on providing technical assistance to address early stage project preparation issues and challenges at all levels. SDM's technical assistance to VICMED would include critical steps to mobilize the $11 million funding for VICMED's detailed preparation studies. And these steps include: 1, improving the enabling environment, policies, laws, regulation, and institutional setup, and cross-border harmonization among the participating countries. 2, develop an initial high-level bankability analysis at the regional and country level, and the elaboration of a trustworthy implementation calendar. 3, evaluate the job creation potential of VICMED project impact through the preparation, construction, and operation of a project under consideration, including indirect, induced, and economic spillover jobs. And 4, support the private sector engagement from early preparation stages, focused on technical, operational, and bankability components. AUDA NEPAD's responsibilities are reflected in our mandate as the development agency of the African Union, and therefore we are a leading implementation vehicle for Agenda 2063. I want to take this opportunity to reiterate the full support of AUDA NEPAD as the PC Secretariat to continue working together with Egypt and all involved member states towards full implementation of a VICMED project with our PICI projects for an equitable, sustainable, and resilient future for our peoples. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for affirming NEPAD's support to this project. Thank you so much. Next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Abdurrahman Diar, Division Manager, African Development Bank. Mr. Diar, the podium is yours.
Your Excellency Manama Peter Gatwood, Minister for Water Resources and Irrigation, Your Excellency Ev Bazaiba Masoudi, Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, Your Excellency Dr. Deo Guide Orema, Minister of Environment, Agriculture and Livestock, dear senior officials from AU NEPAD, COMESA, dear ladies and gentlemen from PC, Peter and VICMED, dear representative of the development partners, and dear participants. It's an honor and privilege for me to represent the African Development Bank and this donor roundtable for the establishment of a navigational line between Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean Sea, namely called the VICMED project. The VICMED project being a Presidential Infrastructure Championing Initiative, PC, that the African Development Bank is proud to support from its inception under the leadership of the President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akidwomi Adesina. I would like to take this opportunity, Minister, to thank the government of Egypt for this continued support of the African Development Bank, especially during the 7th general capital increase, as Egypt was one of the first regional member countries of the bank to support the GCI, and we are really grateful for that. We would like to thank you, Minister. Your Excellencies, dear participants, as you may be aware, Egypt is an important partner for the African Development Bank, as it is the third largest shareholder and the largest client in terms of historic approval. Just to give you a sense of our footprint in Egypt, we have actually a current portfolio of 23 operations worth $1.6 billion. The VICMED project, championed by Egypt under the Presidential Infrastructure Championing Initiative, for which the bank played a leading role in its development so far, through the financing of the first phase of the feasibility studies, is at the core of the mandate of the bank. This mandate is epitomized to the top 5 priorities of the bank, commonly known as the high fives. The high fives, namely Light Up and Power Africa, Feed Africa, Industrialize Africa, Integrate Africa, and improve the quality of life of the people in Africa, as the bank responses to the challenge of supporting inclusive growth and the transition to green growth by scaling up sustainable investment on the continent. Hence, the VICMED project, which aims to promote intermodal transport by integrating river, rail, and road transport facilities along the Nile corridors and develop river management capacities, is fully aligned to the bank high fives. It is also aligned to the bank's North Africa regional integration strategy, which has as objective integrating North Africa to the promotion of regional infrastructure connectivity and enhancing inter- and inter-regional trade and investment through private sector promotion. Your Excellencies and dear participants, the African Development Bank will continue to play its part, and he is ready to use its convening power to gather all other development partners in order to support mobilization of resources needed to complete all the feasibility studies and start reflecting on the most suitable investment vehicle for this transformative initiative. And it is my pleasure to announce that the bank will mobilize $2 million, one in 2021 and one in 2022, to kickstart the preparation of the second phase of the feasibility study. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, I would like to conclude by thanking once again the government of Egypt for having invited the bank to participate in this important event. I would also like to commend all the Nile footprint countries for their commitment to this important and timely initiative for realizing one great additional value for the River Nile. I would also like to underscore the important role that the COMESA is playing and will continue to play in supporting this initiative. I look forward to the outcome of this meeting that will surely be taken into consideration while the African Development Bank will implement its High Five for regional integration. I will thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Diao, in particular for declaring the commitment of the African Development Bank into the second phase of the feasibility studies. Thank you so much. I never knew that your pockets are so deep. I need to have a side discussion with you. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, kindly bear with us. We are about to go into the, the meat of this meeting. But before that, we have two speakers. The next one is Dr. Baptiste Mutabazi, Director of Infrastructure and Logistics from the Infrastructure Division, COMESA Secretariat. Your Excellency, you have the podium. You have the... Thank you.
I am online, and thank you all for inviting me. Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished participants, all protocol observed. I was requested to prepare a PowerPoint on presentation benefit of VICMED, but I noticed that our ministers from footprint countries have already expressed it very well, the advantage of these projects. What I just to gain time, I was just to raise that since 2014, when the VICMED project was endorsed by the COMESA Council of Ministers, this project is always coming in our annual meeting for our infrastructure ministers of COMESA, just to get an update on the progress of these projects. So it is an important project within COMESA, where we have always, every year, we need to report how it is progressing. And I want just to let you know that since that period, all activities, COMESA using its convening power, we have already been coordinating all steering committee meetings and even studies. I just want to thank the project management unit. What I need to let the audience know is that we don't have really a qualified technical skills in COMESA Secretariat. It is really a small one. It is always interesting when we have a big project like this one to have a project management unit, which is now the case of the PMU, which has been really doing a good job. On our side as a secretariat, we have really facilitating the meeting, allowing footprint countries to meet, to discuss, to make comment, and ourselves doing the secretariat. Just to let you know, we have been mandated by the Council of Ministers. Even the last COMESA summit of 2018 has also recommended that this project be followed carefully. So we will continue providing secretariat support as requested. On that note, I wish to thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for keeping it short and sweet. Next speaker is Mr. Ivan Zawatski, Executive Secretary, International Commission for the Protection of the Danube River. Okay. All right. So now we can open the floor for discussion. Now, if those are joining online, please, you can send your contribution through the chat. And then those of us here, you can, if you want have any question or you want to raise anything, just kindly raise your hand. So with this, I open the floor for discussion. Thank you. I hope
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ivan? Yes, please. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Here speaks Ivan Zawatski, the Executive Secretary of the International Commission for the Protection of the Danube River Basin. Thank you very much for inviting me as a representative of the European River Commissions to share with you our experience, how we managed to develop a proper dialogue between development of navigation road, of one of the most important navigation road in Europe, with requirement for environmental protection. So very quickly to introduce you our basin. It covers 10% of continental Europe, the second largest river in the Europe, and home for more than 85 million people, shared by 19 countries, considered as the most international river basin in the world. As we said, the Danube River Basin is very diverse. It's diversity in hydrology, in climate, in economy, in social development, in history, in environment. So in that respect, the countries of Danube Basin put together an international commission which provide a platform for cooperation of 14 countries of the European Union. This is a role model for transboundary cooperation for the entire world. As the convention asks us, we are responsible for all important aspects of the water resources management, and on navigation, we cooperate with the key partner managing the navigation on Danube, which is the Danube Commission, which is based on the convention signed already in 1948, called Budapest Convention. But what is important for us, that we also help the countries not only to implement our convention, but we also coordinate the implementation of two important pieces of EU legislation, EU Water Framework Directive and EU Floods Directive. As we said, as is known, these particularly Water Framework Directive put a lot of requirement to keep the sustainability of the environment, of the water resources in the basin, and actually legally ask for reaching the good ecological status of all rivers. But as you see, the countries of Europe are on a crossroad. On one hand, we want to do everything to protect our rivers. On the other hand, we are responsible, or governments are responsible, to infrastructure development and to maintain and further develop the navigation road on the Danube. So these type of things are something, there are trade-offs. There are trade-offs, and to make sure that these trade-offs are not on behalf of the environment on one hand, but on the other hand, are not on behalf of the compromising the quality of navigation road. We, since 2000 year, we really look at how to manage this confrontation and misunderstanding between environmental protection and development of navigation road. So we are looking for win-win situations. Is there a way to guide infrastructure development in such a way that will not conflict with river protection by support it? As a response to is that we, as a commission, organized a cross-sector dialogue starting in 2007. 12 basin governments, 22 industry and environmental interest groups sit together at 3 workshops, and we produce a result, a commitment by 3 river commissions, is ICPDR, the Danube Commission responsible for navigation, and Sava Commission, which manages the waters in one of the international sub-basins, sit together and develop a joint statement. This joint statement initiative was launched in cooperation with these two commissions. This policy developed jointly between the water managers, navigation authorities, environmental authorities, and NGOs, put together principles and criteria for environmentally sustainable inland navigation on the Danube and its tributaries. And not to have some sort of rigid and crafted in the stone piece of policy, the authors and the participants and the stakeholders of this process meet every year regularly, where we discuss all new projects and all new principles, how to make the inland navigation route on Danube more sustainable. This document is really guiding ones, and it put together principles, and it's based on the program of measures, which is coming from Water Framework Directive, is looking in the maintenance of the current inland navigation, but it's also looking at how to plan investment and future infrastructure in environmental protection projects on this navigation road. So the key principles are that integrating planning process is a goal. So environment and water management and transport should work hand in hand. First, the goal is to minimize the impacts of engineering interventions, apply environmental impact assessment with public input, respect the Water Framework Directive river basin management plans, but also define the goals for internal water transport and the river floodplain ecological integrity, and to use the best practice to achieve the required objectives. What is the key of our joint statement? So our experience shows that the dialogue between three partners became stabilized. The economic sector, represented by navigation, regulators from water and environment, and NGO communities who are concerned about the environment, develop a tool to learn how to conduct proper stakeholder participation in design and implementation of navigation projects. To make this whole process even more target-oriented and help even more the authors and the proponents of the navigation sector, the European Union put together this tool. We call it Mixed Environmental Transport External Expert Team, called METIT, which is a practical implementation of the joint statement, looking at the environmental situation which might be problematic, looking at the river ecosystem, which might have different problem with development of inland navigation, and also looking at the remaining concerns from NGO and local stakeholders about the impact of planned international water transport projects. So, but also this activity is tackling new issues, helping to develop better technical expertise in Danube countries, supporting multidisciplinary approach, and also look at the help to train water management experts and authorities, as well as the authorities for inland navigation, to better address ecological challenges. And this effective cooperation and dialogue between administration is often behind. So this is the problem, that there is no real dialogue on the ground. So therefore, the METI trainings are helping the national authorities to better understand requirements and objectives and problems from both sides. The key principles of this activity is to support addressing the environmental issues in the Danube region. Beneficiaries are local, national, and international planning bodies. The METID is promoting this joint statement, is fully covered and supported with number of EU directorates and Danube Commission ICPDR, and this guidance and advice, which is provided to competent authorities for developing sustainable strategies, plans, and projects, is also need to take into account environmental legislation from the start, as well or the requirements for development of inland navigation. So to conclude this short overview, how we at the Danube River Basin are handling the balance between development on sustainable inland navigation with the requirements, legally binding requirements for protection and management of the rivers. So to summarize it, that if we want to move forward, we have to look for comprehensive planning and monitoring in the past. We have early observe and integrate in time environmental and other river use requirements into infrastructure projects. Involvement of competent stakeholders reduces planning risks, and the joint statement and the Platinum Manual, which is a detailed manual how to design environmentally friendly navigation road in Europe, has to be done. So this method is continuing and building on the work of both. So thank you for your attention. And if you have any additional question to work of the ICPDR or our work on supporting inland navigation, please visit our webpage. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Ivan, for sharing the experiences on the Danube River. So now we come back to our open discussion. Yes, Mr. Salau, you have the floor. Yeah, please give your name and then what you do.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. My name is Mike Salau, Division Manager, Infrastructure and Partnership at the African Development Bank. So I'm here with my colleague, Abderrahman, here to support the project. Just to add to what my colleague mentioned about the bank support, that we are fully aware of the strategic alignment of this project. It was been mentioned here today about the Sustainable Development Goals and also the Agenda 2063 of the African Development Bank, of the African Union, and also the great support from African Union and other NEPA themselves for this regional project. So we fully echo that and like to thank you for that. I think just to add to the voice of my colleague that the African Development Bank is at your side to support you with this project, and we will be mobilizing the Nepal Infrastructure Project Preparation Facility, Nepal IPPF, with the 2 million that my colleague mentioned to support you with this project, and we'll be discussing with the PIU to see arrangement for coming here to prepare the project. But I think most importantly, as you said yourself, Minister, is also this project will promote exchange of knowledge between African countries. I think that's very important. The issue of enhancing, or transferring knowledge and skills across the African countries, what we call the South-South cooperation, is also very important, and we'll be looking forward to that as we prepare the project with the PIU. And lastly, the issue of climate change, I think is also very important, as you highlighted. And for us, it's something that we take very seriously. And using Victoria Lake and Mediterranean through the Nile to navigate will actually yield a lot of benefit from the environmental side, and we'll be looking forward to capitalize that during the project preparation. So I just want to support this endeavor and looking forward to working with you.
I have your hand. I saw a gentleman's hand before that. Anyway, please have the mic. Yes, over here, please.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thanks, Your Excellency. I have the honor to be with you, and thanks for Egypt. Actually, and congratulate Dr. Mohammed and others, ministers, for this project. Really, it's an intelligent one. We need it. Hanan Al-Amin from Sudan, a specialist in environmental strategies and security issues. My question maybe is going to raise to Dr. Tahani. Thanks for your elaboration in the issue. But actually, just I need to know in which phases the project is. Like, do you complete all the feasibility studies, especially the SIA, Strategic Environmental Assessment? Besides, I have like disclaimers or maybe concerns, the security issues, because if the borders are going to be open, that means even the intelligence forces have to be with you in this project, their point of views and everything, because we need it like a holistic approach, but at the same time, we need to secure that successful of the project and the sustainability at the same time. But really, I am going to add my voice to support the project, which is an intelligent one for all of us. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yes, please.
في البداية أنا بشكر الحكومة المصرية وتحديدا الدكتور محمد عبد العاطي وزير الموارد المائية والري على فعاليات ونجاح الأسبوع القاهرة المياه. أنا مش طول، أنا عندي بس سؤالين متخصصين في المشروع اللي احنا بنحضر فيه الجلسة النهاردة. أول سؤال بس كان معالي الوزير كامل الوزير اتكلم عن تحديات التمويل، فأنا بس كنت عايز معالي الوزير يجي يشرح لنا أكتر ايه هي فرص التمويل، وهل الاتحاد الافريقي مثلا ممكن يساعدنا في حاجه زي كده بحكم ان المشروع بيخدم القاره كلها مش بيخدم دوله واحده بس. ده السؤال الاول. السؤال الثاني كنت بس نفسي اسال الدكتور محمد عبد العاطي، قال في كلمته ان المشروع ده حلم، يعني يا ريت يشرح لنا ابرز التحديات اللي ممكن تكون واجهت وزاره الموارد المائيه والري وهي بتنفذ او بتساعد في تنفيذ هذا المشروع، وشكرا.
Thank you. Yes, please go ahead. Please give us your name.
رفعت عبد السميع كبير معد البرامج بالتلفزيون المصري. بداية أنا برحب بمعالي الوزراء الأفارقة في مصر، وبأشيد يعني بنجاح هذا الأسبوع في القاهرة، وده إن دل على شيء إنه فيه كتيبة من الناس المنتمية إلى مصر والناس اللي شغالة بشكل جيد ومحبة لهذا الوطن. رقم 2، أنا بقول إنه أفريقيا في قلب مصر ومصر في قلب أفريقيا، وإنه كل دول أفريقيا لديها معزة خاصة لمصر، لأن مصر ذات بعد حضاري وبعد تاريخي، وإنه لدينا مشروعات عديدة تؤدي إلى الاستثمار والنماء والسلام. وشكرا لكم.
شكرا.
Thank you. Maybe we can go online. Colleagues are joining us virtually. No question. Okay, we'll come back to the floor. Yeah, any questions? Okay, maybe we can take this first round of questions. So the first one is about the integrated approach to conducting the feasibility studies. Our colleague here would like to know how integrated that is going to be in terms of environmental and social, and then also the security issues, please.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, at this phase now we had ended the pre-feasibility study and the first phase of the feasibility study. So now we are seeking for fund for the feasibility study phase 2 part 1. And here we are talking about data collection, survey, hydrological and geological survey, and also to have studies on environmental, social, and impact, social and economic impact assessment for the 5 alternatives. This is a basic study. Afterwards, we will have a multi-criteria analysis, cost-benefit analysis in order to decide which is the best alternatives via only river transport or multimodal transport, and which one of the alternatives, because we had 5 scenarios. The next phase will be the selected scenario that will be selected, will be studied into deep and to have a design and then comes the implementation phase. So now we are on the feasibility study. So the ESAIA will be there, the hydrological surveys will be there, the topographic surveys also will be there. So we are in this stage now to data collection, like the roadmap that I have displayed to you, the data collection, the studies, and then the best alternative will be deeply studied and designed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Always, if you have any follow-up questions, our colleague is here. You can have that side discussions after this meeting.
Oui. Je voudrais mentionner ce que notre sœur du Soudan a soulevé, les questions de sécurité. C'est très important de les intégrer dans ces projets. En tant qu'État, nous sommes conscients qu'en même temps, nous voulons faciliter la libre circulation des personnes et des biens. Et en même temps, nous savons que cette zone de l'Est de l'Afrique est en proie parfois d'insécurité dans une certaine mesure. Donc, nous allons intégrer la question de sécurité comme les frontières seront ouvertes, que nous puissions contrôler que lors de la mise en place du projet ou lors de l'exécution du projet, cela ne facilite pas le trafic illicite des biens prohibés comme les armes ou l'exploitation illégale des ressources naturelles qui doivent passer par là. Nous allons intégrer cette zone-là de sécurité et je félicite notre sœur du Soudan pour avoir soulevé cela. Nous pensons qu'au niveau du gouvernement de la République démocratique du Congo, non seulement il y aura l'intégration du ministre des Transports, mais aussi le ministre de l'Intérieur, Sécurité, y compris le ministre de la Défense. J'apprécie que ici, en la République arabe d'Égypte, le ministre des Transports a déjà une expertise en matière de sécurité, donc il va tenir compte aussi de ces aspects. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Yes, please.
طبعا واحدة من مشروع الربط الملاحي بين بحيرة فيكتوريا والبحر الأبيض المتوسط، واحدة من أهدافه الاستراتيجية تعزيز الأمن والسلم الإقليمي بين الدول المشاطئة للحوض. وفي العالم الافتراضي الإعلام بيلعب فيه دور سواء كان إيجابي أو سلبي. مصر محتاجة هي البادرة بالمشروع في وضع استراتيجية إعلامية بخاطب الشعوب اللي حيربطوا بالمشروع، لأنه الأمن المائي والأمن الحدود اللي بيتكلم عنه الأخت، والحروب بتبدأ الآن في العصر الحديث عبر وسائط الإعلام، والآن وسائط الإعلام ما فيه كنترول. It will be difficult. لاستيعاب أهمية المشروع بالنسبة للدول معروف فوائد، لكن لكثير من الشعوب في المنطقة محتاجة استراتيجية إعلامية بنفيت هيقدم المشروع للناس. ده محتاجين نستصحب ونحن شغالين في الترتيب للتمويل والدراسات الجدوى. أصلا زي ما ذكرت الوزير نخاطب برضه النيدز بتاع البيبل اللي بيصاحبهم المشروع، سواء كان ربط بري او عن طريق سكك الحديد او عن طريق النقل النهري. السلام مهم في الدول المشروع بيمر به عشان يخلق تغيير في واقع حياة الناس. زي ما هو الفكرة قارة واحدة، شعب واحد، ونهر واحد. القيم دي لو ما عززت في نفوس الناس وفي وعيه maybe people will take it wrong.
Thank you so much. Because of time, I think we have to bring this agenda to close. In closing, I will invite the PMU to give the closing vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for moderating the session. Your Excellencies and dear colleagues and Your Excellencies online, I'd like to thank you very much, all of you, for being there late, taking from your time, from your effort to be with us and to bear with us all this time. We're really thankful. And African Development Bank, we are really thankful for your support and for your commitment to the project. I know it is a start, and I know also that we are really counting on you for the future of the project. We're also, I'd like to thank all my colleagues who stayed with us here until late in the afternoon. Thank you very much, and if nothing really is urgent, I'd like to close the session with great thanks to all of you. Thank you.